It's Wednesday the 27th, and I'm getting out of here tomorrow. All the supports are done. The temporary roof is back up. 28 of the supports are notched, sealed, cemented in. The extra 2 purloins are up, bolted in place, cemented in. I'm out of here. It's been 13 days in a row, 14-hour days. I'm heading home. Actually, I'll be back on the 13th of July with Gail, and we're going to mess with putting some supports under the 2 big beams that go up and hold up the roof.
It's Gail's week up in Canada again. She thought she was going to get some beach time. She's in winter jackets with winter pants, with gloves, and we're bringing supplies out to the island. It was in the low 50s this morning. So we're loading up the boat, hopefully not too much. We got a lot more to put in, and we're just making trips back and forth to bring out to the island. So that's July 2/18. All right, it's July 17th. That's Gail over on the floor, picking the gunk out of the screws holding the floor down. Remember, it's been exposed for 8 years, so it's been sealed probably 10 or 12 times. We have to pull the floor up where she's at to get underneath that beam. And we're going to put a jack under there, a permanent stationary jack under there and under here. So Gail's working on that one. I'm going to be working on this one. She's out of her 5 layers of clothing?
Yep, 5 layers.
5 layers crossing over. It's It's much warmer in here, out of the wind, and it's July. Okay. Gail got all the screw heads clean. We've got probably 1 under the beam.
I can't believe that the screws came out so easily, but Dennis did use some square-headed nail or screws so that they came out, and we'll be able to get this board this floorboard right out in order to do the support. Yay! Success!
Using those has made life a lot easier. Now we can get it underneath here. We'll dig down, we'll make a platform, and we'll put a jack underneath there that's permanent. So it'll hold that up and it'll help support the roof over the years. Because this ground here is high and dry, so there's never going to be any water. I'll just go down to, you got to go through the roots about that far, and then you get to this volcanic clay that's real compact. So, all right.
Yay!
We did it. Let's get
Success.
This screw out of here.
Yep.
All right, we thought we could use a manual post hole digger, but it's at too weird of an angle. So I have my pick, and we're digging a hole till we get down to the clay, and then we're going to put a board in the bottom of the hole that's womanized. Then we're going to coat it with tar, and then we're going to put the jack on top of that, like that, and then this goes on that, and then that will be against the bottom of this, and I'll crank it until I can't crank it anymore, and then that'll help hold the weight of these cross supports, and we'll do the same on that one. That's our goal today. Yep, I'm under the floor. I'm putting the steel jack under this beam, cranking it up so that'll be snug, so that can't come down. It's on hard rock, and it's going to go up. So far so good. I don't know if you can see this or not, but here's our post going up. We removed the floor you saw earlier, and Now, I've got a steel plate down there in the bottom of the hole, which I dug down to where it's rock, and then mounted that floor jack up to another steel plate on top with another 2x6. So that will help more support all of that. Okay. Glad this is going good. Now we're moving over to the tricky one because there's no room for me under that side of the cabin, or not as much.
Go.
We just finished, Gail and I just finished doing the support for the southern post. Now we're going to do this one. The cabin is, I picked a high spot. We're 15 feet above on this little peninsula. So that's why I picked it. It's dry ground. This board was laying right underneath here when we picked up the floor. And it's absolutely perfect because of that. So in other words, if you can keep things high and dry, everything underneath here, even though it's 5 years old and it hasn't been properly enclosed, it's still, I'm really happy to see that it's still high and dry is my point. And now that if we coat these and we put them underneath this, it's just going to be real hard to do this support because I'm going to have to dig a lot deeper and there isn't really room for me underneath there. I have to do a lot of squirming. So that's it. All right, we got the second one in. Unfortunately, it took this bucket, that pile, those rocks, and those roots, because that was all perfectly in line with the hole we had to dig 2.5 feet deep straight below this to put a column, an adjustable floor jack in. But it's in. It's perfectly lined up, and we coated the bottom and the top with sealer. And everything's dry underneath here, like bone dry after 5 years, so I don't see any problems, but I'm glad we did this. It'll just make me feel better knowing that we did it. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, then I'm going to slowly tighten it up again, compact it a little more, and then turn it and compact it again, go back over there, crank it, to get any compression there would be in that clay sand stuff. That's it. Well, that went well. The floor is back. We even trimmed around there and sealed the bottom where the beam meets the floor. It was a little tricky. Never hit your hand with a sledgehammer because it really smarts. So I got a really bad cold and I work strangely when I'm sick. So it's looking good. Now we're going to move 16 of the 36 boards I'm going to use for the roof over to the other side of the cabin and saw a third of them in half. That's the next. These 2 foot wide, 8 foot long pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, exterior grade, with a nice finish on one side of each board, have been sealed 4 times. And we're happy about that. But what Gail and I are going to do tomorrow is hopefully we have 20 boards on this pile, and we're going to have to cut 12 of them in half to make our 24 little 4-foot sections, and 8 of them we'll leave alone, but all of them we've got to coat 4 times. And these are our new sawhorses that we brought up with us this time, and they're rated to hold up 500 pounds. We'll see how that goes, but they look good, and they won't rot when we leave them. They're plastic or some kind of structural plastic. All right, that's our plan for tomorrow. It's July 19th. We're starting to finish the boards for the actual roof. They're 8 foot long, 2 foot wide. We have to unfortunately take 12 of these boards and cut them in half to make the end pieces for the short pieces for the roof. So Gail and I have cut 24 pieces. This will be the last cut. Luckily, I've got a little Ryobi generator that will run one tool if it's not more than 13 amps. And my saw is 13 amps, so it made a big difference cutting these things. So we're done with that. Now we have to hand sand them, and then we have to seal each one of these things 3 to 4 times, depending on how they soak up this sealer. And then we can start thinking about putting them up. We're on board 20 out of 24 that we're coating for the second time today. Trying to beat a storm, trying to keep from these pine needles from getting on the finish. We got half of it under tarp. So we're making headway. And we're trying to beat the rain that's coming. Okay, this is Gail. She's working on the second coat of 24 of these panels we cut in half today. As you can see, there isn't enough room in this little cabin for all of these. But we're almost finished with the second coat today, and we're trying to beat the rain and beat all of the needles that are falling off the top of the trees when the wind comes up. We got half of it under a tarp, but we can't have the whole thing under a tarp yet. So that's where we're at. We're getting there, and we're making headway.
We'll have a roof someday.
Gail says we'll have a roof someday. All right. A lot closer. All right. Rain is coming, but Gail and I have we redid the gables all the way up. We redid the outside east wall, all the ends of all the logs, both sides, the west wall outside, both ends, all the joints where they meet. We did 3 coats on 24 of these wooden panels that now look pretty cool, and these will be up in the ceiling along with the other 24 8-foot ones. And then we sealed all of the supports that I made 2 weeks ago, and now we've stained them so they're ready to go. And now we're gonna go check our cameras and call it a day. It's Gail's birthday tomorrow.
Yay!
She's 29 again. Alrighty, signing off. We're getting there. Win. So we've got all 24 of the 4-foot pieces back over in the corner. They're all done 4 times, dried and stacked. We got a couple up against this wall. And then over in the other corner, we've got the 8-foot ones sealed and stacked. And what we're doing now is we're moving the tarp off of the ridgepole, and I've got to retie it all so we can work on the ridgepole. We're going to try to put a couple panels up today and see how does it really lay out. So it's a big day in the neighborhood. So I'm either going to be real happy or real bummed out. So it's good, and I'm glad Gail's here to give me a hand and see just how hard this is going to be for me in the next couple of weeks trying this. All right, that's it for today. All right, we're finally putting the sheathing on the roof. 3/4 inch. The ones we were sealed side down. They're lining up. They're pretty flush. So far so good. We got 3 up, and we're moving north. All right.
Okay.
Can you sit there?
Yep.
All right. Wait 1 second. Everything at the bottom, we're going to push up.
Okay.
Okay, now I'll rest it Rest it right there.
Okay,
Just hold it.
got it.
Don't move.
I'm not moving.
Sneak in behind it. Hopefully. Okay. Get your hands. Towards the front. Let's try to lift up. Okay. Slide it back to me. Push. Nice.
All right.
Push yours that way. Okay. I think the camera's still there on the ridge pole. All right.
Cool.
Board number 4.
Teamwork.
All right. Going down, and then go up there.
Just hold it.
Okay, good job. That may be hanging.
Careful.
You'd kill yourself just trying to get the camera. Okay. Got it. All right. Once again, this is why I want a little tower at the end of the cabin so we can actually see this anytime we want. So I figure a 20-foot tower at the end of the cabin would rock. All right, back down the ladder. Okay, we're real happy. We finally have boards on the roof. They're sealed 4 times inside. It's flush. It's square. 1/2 side is almost done. It was a lot of fun having Gail here to help me. She's going to take off. I'm going to come back. Real happy how it's turning out. There were days when we weren't sure if we'd ever be sitting on the roof videoing this. So it's all good. I'm back. It's August 7th. I'm going to try to stay for 20 days and keep working on the installation of the boards for the roof and get some tar paper on it first and then get shingles and then try to shingle it and get it done. Things aren't going exactly according to plan. I've got practically every screw size from 8" down to 3", but I don't have 2.5", which is what I need to make some little extensions so I can put in these last 5 4-foot pieces. They're just a little bit off center, and if I put a little extension in, it'll keep them flat. So, back to the mainland, and while I'm there though, I just got back yesterday, so it's my first day back. I'll be picking up other supplies, so it won't be a total waste of time. And I've got the truck closer, it's only a couple of miles. That's what I'm doing, so it's all good, just going to slow me up a little. And I've got to, of course, cover everything up in case it rains while I'm gone. All right.